Well, this week we've got two hunts on two very different battlegrounds. Well, Merry Christmas and welcome back to Finding America. This week's episode consists of two separate hunts, a short one by myself and an all-day long hunt with Chris. Well, earlier this week I had a few hours to go metal detecting, so I decided to go to one of my favorite permissions, the home of the legal battleground, the courthouse. Oh, and by the way, to start this one off, I'm going to show you a find that I made at the end of the last hunt I was on there, because it ties in directly to the very first find that I make during this hunt. Well, got another really nice signal. This one was ringing 13, right around there, and I was looking for a nickel. And I got it out of the hole, and I had it in my hand, and I'm like, what the heck? Check it out. I got a very old brooch. Oh, it's awesome. And the fake stone's still in it. I'll tell you what. This coil's killing. I'm just having such a fun morning. It's amazing. So I will get this brushed off a little bit when I get home. What the heck. I brushed it off. I wanted to come back and give you a look at it because it is pretty awesome looking. Look at that. Well, I cannot believe this. The last thing I found a week ago at this spot, and let me tell you, the very first signal this morning, I started off where I left off, and look what I found in my first hole. The matching earring to the one I found a week ago at the end of the day. Isn't that just crazy? That has never happened before for me. So I knew you guys would appreciate this one. That's it's just crazy. Well, next thing was a nice little 24, 25. Dug down about 5 inches, and that's what popped out. Looks to be an older penny. You can see the imprint right there. Oh man, that's a beautiful weedy. That's nice. Let's see if I can get a date off this. Looks like a 45. Very nice. Yeah, first coin of the day. Well, I got a nice find now. Just a little ways down, further down this row here, and I got a solid 13. And it was a little bit deep. It was about 6 inches. And I kept digging, and look what finally popped out on my drop cloth. Oh yeah, it's a piece of silver. It's a silver war nickel. Nice. Philadelphia mint mark. Looks like it's going to be a 45, just like that last weedy I dug. Pretty cool. Yep, there you go. That is awesome. I love digging war nickels. It always reminds me of the sacrifice that everyone made during World War II. Well, this next hole, something very cool in the hole. It was only ringing a 10. Sometimes I could get it to up the tone to an 11, but I finally got it out. It's about 4 inches down, and I'm going to tell you something. I think this is the smallest pocket knife I've ever dug. Look at that little thing. It's missing the scales on either side, but that is a tiny little pocket knife. That's pretty awesome. Well, I just thought I'd show you this little find. This is ringing up a 10 or 11. And it appears I have a really small little lead bale seal. It's marked ET on this side. And the other side has something, just really can't make it out, but pretty cool. I don't think I've ever found a bale seal this small before. So from small pocket knife to small bale seal. Alright, this is a very cool hole. A lot of garbage here. As you can see by the Coke can over there. Pull tabs everywhere, but got a 14. I'm like, well, let me go after it. And I pulled out this nail over there. So, toss that in the pouch, and I knew that wasn't it because that wasn't giving me a 14. Got a signal here, popped it out, and check it out. I have this cool little pin or brooch with stones. Oh, that is really cool. The sun is just getting over the building here, so a little hard to find the right angle so you can see it. But I'm going to spray this off and brush it, but I think it's got some age to it, and it is a pretty one. Well, this rang in at a 16, and you might be like, okay, what's that? It's actually something someone took the time to fold up. When I flipped it over, I could see it had a logo. And I don't know. I mean, I'm just weird. It was about 4 inches down, so I know it's got some age, so I like to unfold them and see what it is. So in case it's something interesting, I wanted to show you it as I found it. And I'll unfold it and be right back. Well, there it is unfolded. And honestly, it makes sense to find this outside a courthouse. I think if you're facing trial at the courthouse, you may have a headache. And someone obviously did and popped an Alka-Seltzer. Definitely has some age. You can see where they ripped it open. It'll definitely help with the headache, but probably not the legal ones. Well, earlier this week, Chris and I were talking about where we were going to go metal detecting next, and I think we were absolutely on the same page. We both wanted to get back in the woods and go out and try to dig up some Civil War relics. So we decided to go to one of our favorite spots, and this was the site of a battle that took place in 1864. Now, we've made some really good finds out there in the past, but so have a lot of other people, going all the way back to the 1970s. It is a very hard-hit spot. And it's not easy to get to. It's a bit of a hike, it's deep in some really thick woods, and it's on a steep hillside. Now, it's a really tough place to hunt, and you have to be patient and take your time and really work hard to get signals out there. Now, Chris decided to use his AT Max on this trip, and I was itching to see what the Equinox 800 would do out there. And I have to say, I was not disappointed. Well, Chris and I are out at one of our very, very favorite spots out in the woods here. As you can see, pretty thick, but a ton of Civil War activity over the years here. Hunted hard in the 70s. But first time out with the Equinox, I'm just running the stock coil, see what it'll do out here. I got a nice target here, a 13, 14. Dug down, and I got a nice little rivet. So not bad for a first signal, and I'll keep going. Well, I picked this one out of the iron. I've been hunting in the horseshoe on, actually been running part 2. It actually works pretty good out here. Getting a lot of signals now. But I was running the horseshoe, just picking the tones out of the iron, and check it out. This was ringing up like an 8 or 9, but it looks like a poncho grommet. So that's pretty cool, and that was right next to where I got that other rivet. So nice little signals coming out of here. I'll tell you, there's been days when we used to hunt this and not find a single thing. Very cool. I'm quickly becoming very impressed with the Equinox once again. Woohoo! All right. Yeah. Finally, I switched over to the small coil. Thought I'd do a little sniping, and glad I did. I just called out to Chris. Button. Oh yeah, I got a real nice cuff button here. It's gonna be, I see the eagle. There's shankage on the back. Nice. I just need to brush it just a little. I can't tell if it's got anything in the middle. But that is awesome. Very, very happy with that. Very nice. And let me get this brushed off a little bit and see if I can give you a better look at it. Ooh. So happy. I worked hard for this. Well, there she is. A beautiful Civil War cuff button. It's going to be general service. Has a plain shield in the center, but look at that beautiful eagle. I will take that all day long. Alright, well, I'm going to keep on doing it with that little coil. Well, Chris got, like I said, Chris said he had a little bit of a button here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Look how freaking cool that is. It popped out like that.
Wow.
And then I flipped it over and it was empty. Or the face was covered, but this was inside of it.
Almost like felt.
Yeah. So I guess the internals of those had that in them.
I don't know.
I've searched everywhere for the...
Got a little bit of the front.
Yeah, just a little tiny bit of the frame there.
Ah, cool.
Wasn't that deep either.
Looks like another coat button. It would have been.
Yeah.
Ah, well, that's the way it goes.
Half counts.
Before today, I'd only found a button back here. So, you know.
That's right. I did get a coat button one time here.
Yeah. Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
You did get a button here.
Quite a while ago.
Yeah, last year. But I've got one button so far. Hopefully I'll get another one.
Yeah.
Well, next thing was a really iffy 11. Pretty choppy. About 5-6 inches down. And it looks like I got a bucking ball. So that's pretty cool. And not too shabby on the depth either. So happy with that. Well, next thing was a nice solid 13. I dug down about 4 or 5 inches. And there it is. It's a little poncho grommet. Would have been their rainy weather ponchos. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Well, I'll tell you what. Equinox, yeah, she and I are meshing right now. We are doing pretty good. I got that poncho grommet right here. I moved up and got a 14-15 signal, about 6 inches deep. Took me a while to get it. Had to get through some roots. I called.
Loaded with roots, man.
Oh yeah, and rocks.
Yeah.
Oh, so I called Chris over because I got something really good. You see that? It is awesome. Well, check that out. I'll give you a good look right there. That is an Eagle Eye infantry coat button. It is awesome. Little push in the center. Definitely pushed in the back, but it's got a nice shank on it. I'll tell you what, I have been hunting this place a long time, and I found all kinds of things here, but I've never found any buttons. I found a button back, but I never got a whole button. And then I bring the Equinox. I got two.
Two of them.
A cuff and a coat. And not only that, but an eye button to boot.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's just so awesome. Well, still working this area where I got the last button and the poncho grommet. And just hunting right between these two logs. And got a solid 14. Dug down. I thought I might have another button. But it's another poncho grommet. So that's a third one from this area. And so that's a good sign. There's some signals here. And I tell you, I'm really beating the brush here, like going under logs and the thickest parts that I can find. Because that's where people are going to miss some things. And where that little coil can get in and sniff them out. So it's working for me so far. Well, the rain poncho was a very important piece of equipment for the soldier. And here's an interesting fact. Do you know what company made most of the rain ponchos for the soldiers during the Civil War? That's right, Goodyear. Most of the ponchos were made by Goodyear, who had patented a process for vulcanizing rubber in the early 1850s. This process made the ponchos water resistant, and it also helped them from becoming brittle out in the field. Well, Chris just called me on the walkie-talkies. Told me he got a bullet, so we're going to go on down there, see if we can find him, and take a look at it. Thought I'd give you an idea what it's like in these woods. It is, it's thick. We'll just put it that way. Yeah, I see him now, heading down the hill here.
Hope you remember where you left your machine.
Yeah, it's back there somewhere. He's telling me, hope I remember where I left my machine. Boy, I was telling them that these woods are thick.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of trip hazards.
Yep.
A bunch of little things, but finally.
All right.
It's been fired funky.
Definite. Yeah, that's a weird bullet.
I'm thinking it's a fired Enfield.
I don't know. Does it have rings?
I haven't looked.
Yeah. Hard to say. It may be an Enfield.
Let's see.
That'd be a nice little Confederate bullet.
Yeah.
I don't see any rings.
Nope, it is an Enfield.
Sweet.
Nice.
Yeah. There you go, Confederate Enfield. Nice.
For one bullet and what,
Yeah.
6 hours? I'll take an Enfield.
Well, you know, this is kind of Chris and I. This is probably our favorite thing to do. Just hang out in the woods and find some Civil War stuff. And
Yeah.
we're just kind of taking it easy this weekend, and little mental health day, and
Yeah, still paying off.
Yeah, we found some pretty nice things and saw about 50 turkey.
There's some big ones, man.
There's some huge turkey out here.
You gotta get quicker with the camera.
Yeah, I was kind of busy filming a button when all the turkeys were going by. Chris called me over. I had to find him first. These woods are thick.
Where's Waldo out here?
Oh my gosh.
This is pretty neat, though.
Oh heck yeah! Look at that.
That is I want to say that's heel, iron heel.
I
I guess it could be a toe.
Looks toe tap, but it's wide.
And it's iron.
Yeah, it's really.
Ring up 25 on the AT
Wow.
Max. Yeah, that's what I'm using. One of them. But that is neat. I've never found an iron one.
No. Well, neither Chris nor I had ever dug up a cast iron toe tap, so that was a new one for us. Now, we've dug up our fair share of brass ones, but I'd started doing a little bit of research, and I learned that the brass ones were typically for civilian use, while the cast iron ones were typically of military origin. It just turns out that the cast iron ones turned out to be much stronger and more durable for all the marching a soldier had to do. Well, I made a nice find right here. Got a 13-14 on the Equinox. About 4 inches down. I already got it out of the ground, but check it out. Piece of Civil War lead. Looks like a 38. Somewhere around there. Pistol bullet. So very happy with that. Nice period piece of lead. Well, next thing was an 11, really strong. I had to dig down quite a ways, and check it out, I got an old horse tack ring. That's pretty cool. So, some piece to one of the soldiers' horses. I got a great sounding signal this time. I was ringing up 16 to 17. Dug down, check it out. Got a nice musket ball with a drop.
Oh, yeah.
Not bad, huh?
Cool.
Yep, so a horse tack ring and this musket ball in a little area of the place that we haven't really been to before. We were kind of stumbled upon this. Well, this is actually really cool. Chris and I were coming down deep in these woods in a part we've never really been to before, and we found this huge poured concrete foundation. House isn't even on the maps going back to the 30s. So started hunting around it. Of course, it's right in the middle of the Civil War area. But check this piece out. It rang up a 23. And I unearthed this part first, and I thought, oh boy, is that a small cannonball? I had to cut it out from the roots, but check it out. Look at that thing. I thought an end iron at first, now I'm thinking part of a yoke. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to check this out, but it is cool. That is an amazing piece. Definitely has a lot of age. This is brass. So there it is. It's coming down the hill, real thick woods, and all of a sudden we saw it. It's a big building. I mean, it was done eons ago. A really large structure. This is like the front door here, and has another wall going down the side here. So actually I've gotten 3 signals here. All 3 were good. Got the horse tack ring, the musket ball, and that brass ball piece. So it's getting close to dark, so we're gonna hoof it out of here, but we're definitely coming back here because that is pretty intriguing, and 3 out of 3 signals were good. So who knows what else is here. I guess to be continued. Well, Merry Christmas to everyone, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode. And once again, I have some really cool holiday-inspired historical photos from our country's great past coming up in just a few seconds, so I hope you'll stick around for this. And remember, history is what makes that find a treasure And I cannot wait to see you back here next week on Finding America.